Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today is February 15th, 2025, and we're going to be looking at undersea cables, AI, and Ethereum.
Yeah, some pretty interesting stuff happening today.
Yeah, I was pretty interested to see how much is going on with these undersea cables. I mean, they're literally the foundation of the internet.
Well, yeah, and they're only becoming more important. Think about all the data we generate every day.
Right.
Streaming videos, video calls, online gaming, file sharing.
Oh, yeah.
It all has to travel through those underwater cables.
It's amazing how much we rely on something that most people don't even know exists.
Yeah, it really is. And this market report predicts that the undersea cable market is going to reach $67.8 billion by 2033.
Wow, that's a huge number. What's driving all that growth?
Well, like I said, it's the sheer amount of data we're generating,
Yeah.
but it's also the speed people expect instant access to information and services, and these cables are what make that possible.
That's true. That's true. It's kind of a good segue then into talking about software because, like, all the data that's traveling through these cables, a lot of it is, dependent upon software.
Yeah.
And I saw this report about static code analysis software. It sounds pretty technical, but it's actually really important.
Yeah, it is. It's basically a way to find vulnerabilities and errors in code before it's released.
So it's like a quality control check for software.
Exactly. It helps ensure that the software we use every day is secure and reliable.
And that's becoming more and more important as we rely on software for pretty much everything.
Right, and there are some big players in this space like SonarQube, Checkmarx, Veracode. These are companies to watch.
Okay, interesting. This next report kind of blew my mind a little bit. It's about hand tracking technology.
Oh yeah, that's some seriously futuristic stuff.
It is. It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It does, but it's becoming a reality. Companies like Magic Leap, Google, Sony, they're all investing heavily in this technology.
So we're talking about controlling our devices just by moving our hands in the air?
Exactly. It's an incredibly intuitive way to interact with technology.
Yeah, I could see how it would be a game changer for things like gaming and entertainment.
Absolutely, but it has applications far beyond that. Think about surgeons using hand tracking to control surgical robots,
Wow.
or architects designing buildings in virtual reality.
Yeah, the possibilities seem pretty much endless.
They really are. It's like we're on the cusp of a new era of human-computer interaction.
And speaking of new eras, AI is changing the way we search for information, too. The battle for AI search engine dominance is heating up.
Yeah, Google and Microsoft are going head-to-head trying to outdo each other with their AI-powered search engines.
What does that mean for the average person using these search engines?
Well, instead of just typing in keywords, we'll be able to have more natural conversations with our search engines.
Oh, so like ask it questions.
Exactly, and the AI will be able to understand those questions in a more nuanced way and provide more personalized results.
That sounds amazing, but it also makes me wonder how this will impact the way we access information. Will it make us more informed, or could it lead to more bias?
That's a great question, and it's one that we need to be thinking about as this technology evolves.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about Web3, specifically Ethereum. There are some big things happening over there.
Yeah, Ethereum is undergoing a major upgrade called Pectra. It's designed to make transactions faster and cheaper.
And why is that so important?
Well, faster transactions mean less waiting time, and lower fees make it more affordable to use Ethereum.
So it could really boost adoption.
Exactly. The testnet is already live, and the mainnet launch is scheduled for April.
Wow, so that's coming up soon.
Yeah, and to make things even more interesting, the Ethereum Foundation is making a big move into decentralized finance, or DeFi.
Oh, what are they doing?
They're investing $120 million into DeFi protocols.
Okay, I've heard of DeFi, but can you explain it quickly for anyone who isn't familiar?
Sure, DeFi basically refers to financial applications built on blockchain technology. It aims to create a more open, transparent, and accessible financial system.
So this investment by the Ethereum Foundation is a pretty big deal.
It is. It shows that they have a lot of confidence in the future of DeFi.
Okay, so it seems like Web3 is really starting to gain some serious momentum.
It is, but it also faces some challenges like scalability.
Right? How can these platforms handle the growing number of users and transactions?
Well, this article from CryptoSlate suggests that Web3 needs to think like Amazon.
What does that even mean?
Basically, it means breaking down complex operations into smaller, more manageable components.
So kind of like dividing and conquering.
Yeah, exactly. This would allow for greater efficiency and scalability.
Okay, that makes sense. There are a couple more things I wanted to touch on before we wrap up this first part.
Sure.
One is this article about MEV bot development.
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty niche topic, but it's really interesting.
It is MEV stands for Maximal Extractable Value, and these bots are essentially automated programs that exploit inefficiencies in cryptocurrency transactions.
Yeah, they can make a lot of money for the people who develop them.
So it's like algorithmic trading, but for crypto.
Yeah, you could say that. It's a complex topic, but it shows how there are always new opportunities emerging in the crypto space.
Okay, and finally, I wanted to mention this AI-powered crypto hackathon.
Oh, yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
It is. It's hosted by CoinTerminal and ZetaChain, and they're offering $1 million in funding to developers who can build innovative projects that combine AI and blockchain.
Wow, that's a huge opportunity.
It is, and it highlights the growing intersection of these two powerful technologies.
Yeah, AR and blockchain are both transforming the world in their own ways, and when you combine them, the possibilities are really exciting.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of different things: undersea cables, software security, AI, Ethereum, DeFi. It's a lot to digest.
Yeah, it is. So maybe let's try to connect some of these dots and talk about the bigger picture.
Okay, good idea. One thing that really stands out to me is the importance of infrastructure.
You're talking about those undersea cables again?
Yeah, but not just those. It's also the infrastructure of the internet itself, the software, the protocols, the systems that make it all work.
Right, and we talked about static code analysis as a way to make that software infrastructure more secure and reliable.
Exactly. It's like making sure the foundation of your house is solid.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Another big theme today is AI. It seems like it's impacting every industry.
It really is. From search engines to hand tracking technology to those MEV bots we talked about, AI is becoming more and more pervasive.
And the race between Google and Microsoft for AI search dominance is fascinating.
It is. Imagine a world where you can just talk to your search engine and it understands exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, that would be amazing. But it also raises some questions about bias and how these AI systems are trained.
Right. We need to make sure that AI is developed and used responsibly.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about infrastructure and AI. What about Web3? It seems like there's a lot of excitement around Ethereum and DeFi.
Yeah, Ethereum's Pectra upgrade is a big deal. It could make the network much faster and cheaper to use.
And the Ethereum Foundation's investment in DeFi is a huge vote of confidence.
It is. DeFi has the potential to disrupt traditional finance, but it's also important to remember that it's still a relatively new and experimental space.
Yeah, there are definitely risks involved, but it's exciting to see how these technologies are evolving.
Absolutely. And speaking of evolution, one of the challenges facing Web3 is scalability.
Right. How can these platforms handle millions or even billions of users?
That's a key question, and one possible solution is to think like Amazon, as that article suggested.
Yeah, breaking down complex operations into smaller, more manageable components.
Exactly. It's about making Web3 more robust, reliable, and user-friendly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. What are some key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is that the pace of technological change is accelerating.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up sometimes.
It is, but it's also an incredibly exciting time to be alive. We're witnessing the birth of a new technological era.
And what does that mean for us as individuals?
It means that we need to be proactive about learning and adapting. We need to be curious and open-minded and willing to embrace change.
Because the future is being shaped right now.
Exactly. And we all have a role to play in shaping it.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive from undersea cables to AI to Web3.
It's been a whirlwind tour of the tech world.
It has. What are your final thoughts on all of this? What does it all mean for the future?
Well, I think the one thing that's clear is that we're living in a time of unprecedented technological change.
Yeah, it seems like there's a new breakthrough every day.
Exactly. And that pace of change is only going to accelerate.
So what does that mean for our listeners? What should they be paying attention to?
Well, I think there are a few key trends to watch. One is the increasing interconnectedness of our world.
Right, everything is connected these days.
Exactly. And that brings a lot of opportunities, but also some challenges.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, it makes us more vulnerable to cyber attacks and data breaches.
That's true. We've seen a lot of that lately.
Yeah, and it also raises questions about privacy and surveillance.
Right, how much of our data is being collected and who has access to it?
Exactly. These are issues that we need to be thinking about carefully.
Okay, so interconnectedness is one trend. What else?
Another one is the rise of artificial intelligence.
Oh yeah, we talked about that earlier with AI-powered search engines and hand-tracking technology.
Right, but AI is going to have an impact on pretty much every industry.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine a future where AI isn't involved in some way.
Exactly, and that raises a lot of ethical and societal questions that we need to be addressing.
Right, like how do we ensure that AI is used for good and not for harm?
Exactly, and how do we prepare for the potential job displacement that AI could cause?
Yeah, these are big questions.
They are, but they're questions that we need to be asking now.
Okay, so interconnectedness and AI. What else should we be thinking about?
Well, I think the third major trend is the shift towards decentralization.
You're talking about Web3 and blockchain and all of that.
Exactly. These technologies have the potential to disrupt a lot of industries and empower individuals in new ways.
But they also face some challenges like scalability and regulation.
Right. There's still a lot of work to be done.
Okay, so those are three big trends: interconnectedness, AI, and decentralization.
Yep, those are the ones I'm watching most closely.
So what can our listeners do to stay ahead of the curve?
Well, the best advice I can give is to be curious and keep learning.
Yeah, read articles, listen to podcasts, attend conferences.
Exactly, and don't be afraid to experiment with new technologies.
The more you know, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this rapidly changing world.
That's right. And remember, the future is not something that just happens to us.
It's something we create.
Exactly. So let's create a future that we can all be proud of.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of tech.
My pleasure. Always happy to chat about the future.
And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Bye.